This joy that I have, the world didn't give it to me. Oh, this joy that I have, the world didn't give it to me. Don't you know that this joy that I have, the world didn't give it to me. Oh, I said the world didn't give it, the world can't take it away. Oh, this strength that I have, this strength that I have, this strength that I have. Oh, yeah, now. The world didn't give it to me. The world didn't give it to me. This strength that I have. Oh, yeah, the world didn't give it to me. The world didn't give it to me. This strength that I have. Oh, yeah, the world didn't give it to me. Oh, I said the world didn't give it, the world can't take it away. Oh, this love that I have, this love that I have. Oh, yeah, now. The world didn't give it to me. The world didn't give it to me. This love that I have. Oh, yeah, the world didn't give it to me. Don't you know that this love that I have, yeah, the world didn't give it to me. Singing, the world didn't give it, the world can't take it away. Oh, this pride that I have, this pride that I have, this pride that I have. Oh, yeah, now. The world didn't give it to me. The world didn't give it to me. This pride that I have. I said the world didn't give it to me. Don't you know that this pride that I have, yeah, the world didn't give it to me. Oh, I said the world didn't give it, the world can't take it away. All this peace that I have, oh, yeah. The world didn't give it to me. The world didn't give me my peace. This peace that I have, oh, yeah, now. The world didn't give it to me. Won't you sing about peace? This peace that I have, oh, yeah, now. The world didn't give it to me. I said the world didn't give it, the world can't take it away. All this joy that I have, this joy that I have, this joy that I have. Oh, yeah, now, the world didn't give it to me. The world didn't give it to me. This joy that I have. I said the world didn't give it to me. Don't you know that this joy that I have, the world didn't give it to me. Oh, I said the world didn't give it, the world can't take it away. The world didn't give it and the world can't take it away. The world didn't give it, the world can't take it away. The world didn't give it and the world can't take it away. The world didn't give it, the world can't take it away. The world didn't give it and the world can't take it away. The world didn't give it, the world can't take it away.
Resistance Revival Chorus believes in the words written by the poet Toy Derricott when she wrote, "Joy is an act of resistance." We believe in the words of Mr. Harry Belafonte, who said, "When the movement is strong, the music is strong." We sing to revive the hearts of those who fight for social justice, and we sing together for freedom.
Our first reading today is by Starhawk from our hymnal, Singing the Living Tradition. Earth Mother, Star Mother, you who are called by 1,000 names, may all remember we are cells in your body and dance together. You are the grain and the loaf that sustains us each day. And as you are patient with our struggles to learn, so shall we be patient with ourselves and each other. We are radiant light and sacred dark, the balance. You are the embrace that heartens and the freedom beyond fear. Within you we are born, we grow, live, and die. You bring us around the circle to rebirth. Within us you dance forever.
For me, I was raised to pay attention to the needs of others, and this was sometimes at the expense of my own needs. And along with this, I was taught to be harsh and judgmental about my own performance. And this often left me feeling out of balance and down on myself. Others may have had a similar element in your upbringing. Recently, I've been seeking ways to find my way back to a more fundamental balance. Here's the verse I found to be enormously helpful. This is recently retranslated from the book of Psalms in the Hebrew Scriptures. For as the heavens reach beyond earth and time, we swim in mercy as in an endless sea. Spending time with these words, I understand mercy as divine loving kindness. This is the universal love recognized in so many wisdom traditions. This reminds me of what I know fundamentally in my heart. We live in a universe infused with love and the possibility of more love. This possibility of more love is what Dr. King taught us when he urged us to strive for the beloved community. This verse from a psalm helps me get closer to my balance point. That is the balance point where I'm doing a reasonable amount of self-care as well as taking care of others. At a deeper level, this reminds me that I deserve to be in true balance. I really do. And each human being also deserves this, although we are far from achieving this balance among us. Sadly, the world news in these past few days reminds us just how far away we are from that balance. Nevertheless, the call remains. Hence our work to care for one another directly, hence Dr. King's wonderful call to the beloved community, and hence our 7 principles, including the call to a world respecting the worth and dignity of every person. Now let's consider another piece of traditional wisdom. In the Christian scriptures, we hear Jesus of Nazareth invite each of us to love your neighbor as yourself. Note that Jesus doesn't invite me to love others more than myself, or less, or even differently than myself. He only says, love your neighbor as yourself. I take this to be an invitation into a deeply creative space. Here, caring for myself and caring for others are interwoven and interdependent. I've had a gut-level lesson in this during the global pandemic. For 2 years, I've been very, very careful about my own close physical contact with others. This has been an act of love for myself as well as for those others, all at the same time. I expect many of us have dealt with the same lesson in some form in these past months. There are other cases where care of self and care for others interweave, whether we are in a pandemic or not. For instance, we Unitarian Universalists want our congregations to be places where we and all the people we encounter are treated with respect. This is deeply embedded in our tradition and values, including our first worth and dignity principle that I mentioned already. Fundamentally, we know we need to care for ourselves to be able to care for others. Quaker author Parker Palmer puts it this way in his writing: self-care is never a selfish act. It is only good stewardship of the only gift I have, the gift I was put on earth to offer to others. So even in these difficult days, I hope and pray we will all find good creative balance between care for others and care for ourselves. May it be so.
How could anyone ever tell you you were anything less than beautiful? How could anyone ever tell you you were less than whole? How could anyone fail to notice that your loving is a miracle? How deeply you're connected to my soul. How could anyone ever tell you you were anything less than beautiful? How could anyone ever tell you you were less than whole? How could anyone fail to notice that your loving is a miracle? how deeply you're connected to my soul. How could anyone ever tell you you were anything less than beautiful? How could anyone ever tell you you were less than whole? How could anyone fail to notice that your loving is a miracle? How deeply you're connected to my soul. How could anyone ever tell you you were anything less than beautiful? How could anyone ever tell you you were less than whole? How could anyone fail to notice that your loving is a miracle? How deeply you're connected to my soul. How could anyone ever tell you you were anything less than beautiful? How could anyone ever tell you you were less than whole? How could anyone fail to notice that your loving is a miracle? How deeply you're connected to my soul.
Each week, we set aside this time in our Sunday service to receive your donations in aid of this congregation and the excellent work that it does. So please be generous within your means.
There is more love somewhere. There is more love somewhere. I'm gonna keep on till I find it. There is more somewhere. There is more hope somewhere. There is more hope somewhere. I'm gonna keep on till I find it. There is more hope somewhere. There is more peace somewhere. There is more peace somewhere. I'm gonna keep on till I find it. There is more peace somewhere. There is more joy somewhere. There is more joy somewhere. I'm gonna keep on till I find it. There is more joy somewhere. Somewhere.
This reading is by Rosemary Radforth Ruther from Gaia and God, an ecofeminist theology of earth healing. What we need is neither optimism nor pessimism, but committed love. This means we remain committed to a vision and to concrete communities of life, no matter what the trends may be. We also remain clear that life is not made whole once and for all in some static millennium in the future. It is made whole again and again in the renewed day born from night, and in the new spring that rises from each winter.
We join hands in Unitarian Universalist fellowship, pledging ourselves to an individual religious freedom which transcends all creeds, not to think alike, but to journey together